hadamadin ila nyantolo hadamadin ila nyantolum preji kendomi annun ji senengo adabe hadamadun la baluwole kono annun hadamadun ka fengo fen dundi akono kono ayen rek ke ku senewol ay ke kuti mi yalla ko ata hadamadun mantora madingul one stop water solutions limited ibe jande gambia banko kan annun ye filtarole natal mi yalla ko isala jiol kende andi anu isa senen inatale pour ka ji kendo ji senengo natale gambia banko kan jio mi yalla ko atal mantora la annun jio diata ba one stop water solutions limited ye filtarole natal mi yalla ko alse muna fangano la alla pompol isala jiol tenteng ya senendi coming alla fala nyame naketa pompoti bang abo holo fo nawek la pipe wala a filter sifa o sifa one stop solutions ya natalele 10 inch filter set of 3 ya sotalele filter mi yalon ko acidiota aya tenteng natara bankole ba kono fa kenyo wala kankan be bije sa be bon filter fana member ko 12 inch set of 3 filter mi yalon ko acidiota aya dada aya senendi mensebeta alla jata kendato fana sotale CTO block carbon filter o fana mu filter mi yalon ko asi chemical o bonnino jiol kono le mensebeta alla jata kendeya filter mumbo ko CTO block carbon mensi jiola chemical be bondi akono pour ka alla jata kendeya sahen nim filter sabol be kiliwo kilina pansundoku na wata tankol fanan sotali kabirim 500 5000 fokata 10000 liters plumbing fittings fanan be mol bulle alsimol tarano sukuta highway mariama kunda johnson wala isimol kumandi 505 5691 796 8272 one stop water limited solutions inatale ka jikuo be sonende gambia.
Good morning there. You're watching QTV this morning and I am Jenna Bosonko here with my amazing co-host Ibrahim Abalde. Good morning.
Morning, Jenna Bosonko. It's good to be here.
So do you need to take some water?
Well, I've taken bahal in the morning. You know, if you take bahal...
Why you luma jahal? Take bahal bi loho nga ko don leke.
Mo gëna saf.
Use loho bi.
Wow. Like loho bi ni nga jël loho bi tie fuel bowl bi nga mix ko. Nga amalgamate ko nga doxal ko. Daf di overdox. Xam nga mbahal dafa am nuñ ko lekke. Amna different types of mbahal yi nga xamne dafa am noko lekke. Amna yi nga xamne kudu nga ko lekke. Xam nga yu ñu oy mbahali góor jigéen. Bobu amna. Mbahal bu tilim amna. Understand nga? Thank you. Nga jël loxo bi gerte bu nekk sa loxo bi nga jël sa boñ yi di ko xoos. Understand? Lolu moy mbahal bu tilim. So the mbahal I was eating in the morning, excuse me, mbahal bu tilim la don leka. So mbahal bu tilim bobu so ko leke ndox rek nga soxla. The whole day da nga dem be wacha.
Wow.
The whole day ndox rek.
Why do la de tayal lo?
Mo man suma leke mbahal la de na sawar.
By the way, how was your weekend?
My weekend gis nga ko. Xamna ne gis nga suma status bi. I was painting. Wow. So I was busy painting. Man dafa am yena liggéey nga xamne duma ko dé by someone to do it for me. Okay. I do it for myself. You know, so I was painting all over the house. You know, alhamdulillah, I'm done painting.
You're done painting?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
It's good that you're that independent.
When you have a new building, in the painter man, pour mu paintal. Why man, I know how to mix my paint. I did all these things for myself.
Wow.
So, linga hamne ma yoro na another extra 10,000. That 10,000 will go to my family.
Sure.
Jarut mako fe a painter man.
Yeah.
So, bonne ke painter man do leka suma haris.
Do leka sa haris. Anyway, man, weekend was fun. You know, I went out with my friends. I just felt like I needed space to breathe. You know, I was out with my friends. Nah.
Yen sen gena bobu neex na de.
Wa ñun suñ ceeb dafa soxor.
Who is that Khadija?
So
kan moy Khadija dama bëgg xam do.
So
you're watching this morning.
You're watching this morning.
Bu mané koku rek jey xana la nga jealous.
You're watching this morning. Welcome back once again. As usual, we have the African proverb. Today, we will just going through the newspaper headlines just to tell you what is on the papers, but not a specific discussion as to some of the stories here. And on Community Watch, we'll be talking about how aflatoxin affects Gambia's groundnut exports to Europe. And beyond just aflatoxins affecting Gambia's groundnut exports, it's also important to take a look at the health aspect when it comes to aflatoxins. I know there are a lot of conferences, a lot of events where we talk about the issue of aflatoxins, but the understanding should be are we going to the grassroots to engage farmers to make them understand the issues of aflatoxins? You know, liver cancer is quite prevalent in the Gambia and requires urgent action, and part of that is solving the issue of aflatoxins and probably reduce some of the conferences, formal conferences, where the farmer down in Soma is not even involved in some of these decision-making processes as to how to change the narrative. So we'll be joined by Usman Jaju, Director of Aflatoxin and Food Chemistry Lab, NARI. And moving on social issues, we'll be talking about Gambia's first home-trained gynecologist is part of the West African College of Surgeons, Awaja, Dr. Awaja. She'll be here to tell us how she is able to be home trained, you know, homegrown, and is able to fly to this extent, because the notion is that you you must go outside of the country to build certain capacities that you want. But well, she's shown that that is not the case. You can be in Gambia here, get trained in Gambia, and get to attract international attention. So moving on, we have sad news here. Today on the Click segment, Buba Fati will be joined by Ojulo, but he will be also giving a tribute to Sarah Joy. Sarah Joy was working for QTV. She was the co-host of Gum Vibes together with Dels. I know right now Dels is feeling quite sad considering the bond that they were supposed to put together within a short period of working together. So she's been here working with all of us, quite talented, very, very talented young lady. And she's a fighter, you know, she is a fighter, and part of the executive members of the Sickle Cell Association has been helping a lot of other sickle cell patients, bringing them together to ensure that they fight, you know, and yeah, may her soul rest in perfect peace, and sending some light and some love to her family. Balde.
Yes, I know at this moment her family is going through a lot. I mean, it's very sad to learn the demise of Sarah Joy. She was with us, and we all know she was a very active young lady. And as you mentioned, she is a fighter, and of course, she has very great interpersonal skills.
Very
I mean,
well,
Sarah,
very
it's open to everybody. I can remember I called her like 2 weeks ago regarding a sickle cell patient, and I could not get her, but she called back. I mean, so that she can connect with that individual. So we are praying, may Jannah be her final destination. I mean, we are hoping, and inshallah, we are hoping she will rest in peace, inshallah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, you know, as individuals, knowing that, you know, whatever you do, you know, on this art, it's just about, you know, working hard and not losing hope, because at the end, you know, death is something that we can't, you know, run away from. But like you said, it's about, you know, things that we get to do here. You just talked about how she has good interpersonal skills, and that is something that I know about. You know, she's friendly to everybody, quite open, willing to work. You know, that's something that I saw in her eyes, always willing to work, always willing to do new things. So, you know, I just hope that, you know, the family is able to deal with this.
Exactly.
It's really sad.
Janawa, this is the reality.
Yeah.
You see, I mean, at the end of the time, this is going to happen. This is the end. This is everything. You see, as it is mentioned by God, I mean, we are on this earth. This is a trial for us. I mean, we need to know how to live, how to interact, you know, to make it very easy for us tomorrow. Everything that we do, everything that we have, at the end of time, this is going to be the ending. So it's better for us to prepare for the eternal life. You know, it is very sad, I mean, to learn at this time, you know, she's gone too soon. I mean, nobody expected at this time. But
hopefully she's in a better place.
Yes, we are hoping and praying for the family. You know.
So what is our African proverb today?
All right. Once again, you're watching QTV this morning, and we go straight to the African proverb. If money were to be found up in trees, most people would be married to monkeys. If money were to be found up in trees, most people will be married to monkeys. Monkey again. Monkey and
If money,
monkey and its
if
tail.
money were to be found up in the trees, most people would be married to monkeys. So what does this tell you?
Well, I think the proverb is edited. It should have gone direct the way it is. I mean,
Okay, what are you trying to say?
I mean, the one that I saw previously and this one is totally different.
Okay.
Yes. So let's forget about that. Let's deal with this one.
Okay.
If money were to be found up in trees, most people would have married monkeys. From what the way I can interpret this proverb, it is, I mean, there are people that you know, they don't care. All they want is just to get what they want.
Okay.
You know, they don't care. They can go to the extent of, I mean, doing certain things just to get what they want.
Right, right.
I mean, they don't think about the repercussion. They don't think about how society is going to portray them. All they want is to make sure they get what they want, whether it is the right way or the wrong way. So this is how I interpret this.
Yeah, I think it's 100% so. People go the extra mile, you know. Sometimes when it involves money, they do not even look at what they're getting into, you know. And if money were to be found up in trees, most people would marry monkeys. In a normal circumstance, both men and women marry for money. We've seen circumstances like that. You know, before we came up, you were talking about, oh, women this. No, it's a two-way thing. You know, some men marry some women for money, and some women marry men for money. Do you know that?
Yeah, that's quite
Do you know
true.
it's a two-way thing?
Yes, that's quite true. But when you talk about marriage, generally, what people think about is a man marrying a woman.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So that's why I said this proverb is been edited. I mean, if you talk about, well, if money were to be found up in trees,
Yeah.
women would have married monkeys.
No,
I
no,
think
no,
yes,
no,
the
no,
proverb
no,
that I
no.
saw.
Okay.
The one that I saw,
Okay.
that's how it was written.
Written.
I mean, that's why I didn't see the woman here. So I
Okay.
said, it is edited. I'm not saying there are, men are doing the same thing.
Yes.
You know, on several occasions, I've had men saying, I mean, I cannot marry a woman who is not wealthy.
Exactly.
At least a woman should be working to an extent, you know, at least she should be able to provide for herself,
Right.
you know, and also help me on certain things. You know,
Right.
so it's a two-way. I mean, it's not only women looking for men with wealth. You understand? I understand that.
So what do you look for? Like, what did you look for in your wife when you were marrying her?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you think people should look for in their partners?
Well, I looked at the family background. I mean,
Family background?
Yes.
Okay.
when I say family background, it's not wealthy, it's not wealth. I mean, I looked at how respectful their family is, you know. Most of the time, if you were to marry a woman, it is important for you to know the family background.
Okay,
it
why?
helps.
Okay.
Not all the time, but most of the time it helps.
But does the family, how the family is, how does that affect her?
It depends.
Okay.
When a child is from a very good family, when a child is from a very respected family, when a child is from a very good upbringing, it really counts. It impacts the life of the child.
Okay.
You understand? So some people can come from very good families and they become very bad people.
Exactly.
In society.
Right.
But most of the time, when you look at the family, you know, if the family is good, I mean,
How do you determine a good family?
how do you determine a good family?
Yes.
I mean, I think for you to, it will take you time for you to determine whether a family is good or not.
Yes.
You know, it's not what you just see
on the surface.
Yes, but it takes a little time for you to live with that family. I mean, at least you need to know the family. You need to know the family background. You need to know the family history. You understand? For you to be able to determine whether I have the confidence to go in for these people's daughter hand in marriage, and also your interaction with their daughter. You know, it's important. So I think I put all those things together. I mean, to a conclusion that okay, at least it's not 100%.
Yeah,
but
you
at least
can't get it 100%.
I am able to fulfill this.
Okay.
You understand? At some point, Jenaba, for me, I'll say this. At some point, Alhamdulillah, for me, I've been married for 11 years now. You understand? But at some point, if at all I didn't make that decision, you know, 11 years ago,
yes,
by taking my time and making
doing
a good choice, I mean, I might not end up here today.
Okay.
You know.
So which means the woman you have or the husband you have as an individual really
I,
matters.
you know, most people, I think they are also overpowered by beauty.
Okay.
You know, which is very wrong when choosing a spouse.
Okay.
You understand? I think it's important for you to look at the character of the individual.
Yeah.
You understand? Beauty sent a whole lot of people in marriages, but I mean, attitude, you know, keeps packing them home.
Yeah.
You know, so it's important. Women do the same thing. Don't look at a man with 6 packs. Don't look at a man with height. Don't look at a man with wealth. Look at a man who loves you, who understands you, who is ready to stand by you.
And again, you know, somebody responsible, because num si munti mel tamit yow war nga mëna dugga ci ko xamne xam nga ne responsible na minute ne comme dafa am xaliss at that point, but something that yen di ngeen mëna work together pour mën ko achieve.
Thank you.
Waaye waxuñ fi kenn tamit mu dem dugga ci lo xamne hitna at the end of the day.
What is the essence of yow nga am jëkkër tay mu am alal be waaye respect gut la.
Wow.
Understand nga am jëkkër bi nga xam dafa am alal be waaye at the end of the time, you know, daf la harass, daf la def lu nekk. Even if you have that wealth, I mean, amul njëriñ. You know, man, I had a conversation with one lady. Borom alal la. Jigéen bi, alhamdulillah, amul lu mankel. Waaye mu ne ma ne man su ma amoon jigéen bi nga xam ne si pukus lañ digga sax ma am jaama moo ma gënal.
Waaw jaama bi ak ku laa yërëm ku pare pour séedoo ak yow.
It happens all the time.
It's very important.
You know. So loolu rek la àddina loolu la. mu am na ñi nga xam ne tam dañ am alal. ñu am respect. am nañ yëpp all the quality. am nañ alal am nañ respect yërëm nañ jigéen. bugga nañ seen jabar yi. loolu mu ngi fa.
Okay.
You know,
yeah, so the proverb, if money were to be found up in trees, most people would be married to monkeys. So, you know, let's not just go the extra mile to the extent of hurting other people just for money. You know, whatever we do, whatever we're searching for, let it be genuine. You know, let us use our own principles to be able to get it. You know, money is important, but let's not harm people on the way to be able to get it. So, yes, we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we will just get to read the headlines on the newspaper, and from there, we will head right onto the Community Watch, where we'll be taking a look at the issue of aflatoxins. We'll be right back.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222.
Welcome back from that break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. Ibrahim, and you have the Point as well as Foreign.
Yes, exactly. This is the Point and the Foreign newspaper. Let's take a look at the headlines of the Point newspaper. IEC AG asks court to refuse Sabali's application. And of course, Casamas conflict, Gambia, Senegal and Guinea urge to dialogue with MFDC. And of course, development of China-Gambia ties severe both people interest, Chinese firm. GFA mourns late Kiang West aspirant candidate. It's unfortunate. Gambia ratifies comprehensive nuclear test ban treaty. That's what we have on the point.
Okay.
And the FOREA
Yeah.
lawyers for IEC Attorney General oppose Sabali's case. Gambia signs loan agreement. And of course, IEC completes conducting parliamentary elections in Fonyi.
Right.
Second accused person testify in Access Bank theft case. And
That's all?
the editorial, term limit to the presidency to prevent democracy creating monarchy. That's what we have, yeah.
So moving on, Gambia will host Africa Curriculum Conference in May. And also here, Mamadou Sabali's application lacks merit, says Attorney General. And here, the claim is false. Sabali rejects report to Barrow's party. Defection to Barrow's party, rather. They're saying that Mamadou Sabali saying that the claims are false. And here, over 2,000 children among people flee Casamas conflict. And also the Drug Law Enforcement Agency here, 2 tons of cannabis seized from 2017 and 2018. And the Drug Law Enforcement Agency again here is reporting that about 686 people arrested with suspected cannabis. I think drug use is a problem here. Interesting headlines. Interesting headlines. I think most of the headlines here today has to do with the courts and the Casamas conflict. Here we see that 2,000 children affected. And there on FOREA, they're asking for a compromise to meet and negotiate the issue. Well, luckily, all of the headlines today, these are things that we've discussed on this program before. So if you're watching from Facebook or on YouTube, please tell us what you think about some of these ongoing national issues and how you think we'll be able to solve them. And hopefully when you comment on that, if we take a look at it, a conversation can be drawn from there. So this is what the newspapers have. We will now go for a short break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the issue of aflatoxin. But we have a story there by Mamadou Lamin Choi. We will take a look at that. And when we come back, we'll be joined by Mr. Usman Jaju, Director of Aflatoxin and Fruit Chemistry Lab at NARI. We'll be right back.
It's a predominant crop disease in tropical countries with Sahelian climate condition, which provides the optimum environment for the growth of the type of fungus that produce aflatoxin. Crops contaminated include rice, maize, and groundnut. We visited the National Agricultural Research Institute's Aflatoxin and Food Chemistry Laboratory. Usman M. Jaju is the director of the chemistry lab.
Yeah, we collected samples of peanut and rice as well as maize, because these are the more common type of crops that are prone to aflatoxin. But what we have realized, we have some high levels in peanuts, although lower levels in maize as well as rice. Rice, almost very low levels of aflatoxin.
The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations estimates that 25% of the food produced worldwide is contaminated with aflatoxins. In its share of the disease epidemic, Africa is left with substantial economic consequences, resulting to losses in export earnings amounting to more than $670 million per year. Gambia's agricultural export constitute approximately 66%, and since 2014, the Gambia is unable to access EU markets, which are said to have best-selling prices for groundnut. Consequently, $20 million of export earnings have been lost.
Because normally when you are going for export, for EU, they are very stringent. They have very lower levels. You know, they are measured in ppb, what we call parts per billion. So normally for the EU, they are very stringent in terms of their rules. So the levels that they are demanding are very low, because they are demanding around 4 ppb for total aflatoxin and 2 ppb for B1. So at least the USA and the Codex is more flexible.
To address the economic challenges, the National Research Institute is conducting a research on groundnut varieties that are resistant to aflatoxin to introduce to farmers when successful. After the observational nurseries show positive results, last year, on-stage research on the groundnut varieties began. Dr. Lamin Diba is the research director at NARI.
The second stage, we have tested them on station, and again last year the yields that we are having is also very promising. So next year we have to go multi-location and then to the farmers' fields. So when the varieties are accepted, then we would also take samples alongside to test in the field and then compare it with other groundnut varieties to try to check their aflatoxin contamination level. So that's the research that we are doing.
It will take at least 3 years before the research on a groundnut-resistant variety to aflatoxin completes. Ibrahima A.A. Jallo, a principal research officer at NARI, shares his view on aflatoxin contamination in the Gambia.
About 90% of what we have analyzed in the lab here were almost negative. So you have few outliers that will show up very high, and then the majority, of course, will be below what is accepted, below the threshold of what is accepted both in the EU or any other codex or the US. So the problem might lie here from the transportation from the Gambia to wherever the destination might be. If there is studies within from that end, one might find the problem of why our samples are not accepted in the general market. But my personal belief is not our agronomical practices, because many samples I have analyzed in this lab shows that the samples are not highly contaminated.
A decade-long research on the trend of aflatoxin contamination on groundnut from 2008 to 2018 by NARI, which was published in the London Journal's Press, shows a fluctuating rise and fall in the levels of aflatoxin, with the highest mean of 112 parts per billion observed in 2011 and the lowest 8.5 parts per billion in 2018. A similar research by NARI, published in 2020, reveals that 85 samples of peanut butter from the 7 regions in the Gambia, about 91% contain zero aflatoxin. This research was published last year in the African Journal of Food Science, which also recommends us to continue consuming our delicious and cultural stew called domada, made from peanut butter, in order to gain the maximum health benefits.
That domada right there looking good. Wish I have that domada in front of me this morning.
Looks very good.
Looks good. Looks good. Yes, great story there by Mamadou Lamin Choi on aflatoxins. And now we're joined by our guest, Usman Jaju, Director of Aflatoxin and Food Chemistry Lab, NARI. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for welcoming me to this important interview or whatever.
Yeah.
It's good to have you.
Yes,
Yeah.
good to have you. So, Mr. Jaju, I just want to understand, I don't know, if it's, when it comes to NARI, do you do any form of advocacy when it comes to the local level, as in engaging farmers when it comes to the issue of aflatoxins? Is that happening, and what modalities are you using?
Yeah, it is happening, but actually very limited.
Okay, why is that?
Yeah, it is just in the recent years is that we are involved in more on advocacy so that people are aware of what is happening, especially when we started with the, I'm talking on the side of aflatoxin, especially when we started with the PACA program. Yeah, that is the Partnership for Aflatoxin Control in Africa. It is, Gambia was fortunate to be one of the countries that were involved in the pilot phase. Yeah, during that time, I think there are some advocacies that were taking place in terms of sensitizing the general public by the focal person, the PACA country officer, who is in the NAFI, as well as other partners. I think they were using, I don't know which exactly the media they were using. Maybe it might be GRTS or other media outlets. Yeah, so it is limited, to be honest. Yeah, and then I think we require more advocacy as well as awareness creation so that people are aware.
Yeah,
of what
I
is
think
going on.
your work is difficult considering that, like you accepted that the advocacy is not there, because the general notion when it comes to aflatoxins is that it's most of the time formalized instead of talking to the right people, because there are a lot of conferences, a lot of or the international seminars that I see people attend to most of the time on aflatoxins, and it does not go down to the grassroots level, and that is quite affecting your work as a body to work on it.
Yeah, this is right. What you have said is true. There is a lot of seminars as well as conferences going on at different levels anyway. But the problem is, I think it is not going down to the local people so that they are aware of as to what is going on.
Okay.
Yeah, I think actually what you have said is right. The sensitization as well as advocacy or whatsoever awareness creation is very limited, especially on the local people. Yeah, we had a lot of conferences, a lot of trainings that we have attended on this aflatoxin within both nationally as well as regionally, but then it doesn't filter down to the local people so that people are aware of what aflatoxins are and then the consequences.
So now we have an opportunity, right? Now we have an opportunity, Ibrahim, to make all of that clear.
Exactly.
In depth, what are aflatoxins? How does it happen? And some of the consequences, as well as how can we now change the narrative, considering that we are not even close to changing it. So take us through that.
Yeah, aflatoxin actually are these secondary metabolites that are emitted by fungus. We have two common strains, that is A. flavus and then A. parasiticus. Aflatoxin actually is one of the mycotoxins. Mycotoxins is a general term. When you say mycotoxins, you have so many different mycotoxins. But here we are more focused on aflatoxins, which is one of them. And then the consequences might be, it can lead to, actually I'm not a scientist, but I also work with some guys from the MRC, which are also part of this program. And then we realized that also I reviewed some journals and I realized that it can cause cancer. Yeah, especially on the health side. On the trade side, it can cause a lot of problems in terms of trade. That means we cannot trade with the US or the EU or whatsoever because of the levels. And then in terms of what else? Yeah, we talk of trade, health, and then, so it has really reduced us exporting, because then Gambia was known for exporting a lot of groundnut as the main cash crop into the overseas. But right now, because of this problem of aflatoxin, it has led to many consequences in terms of trade, in terms of health, and then other issues. Yeah. So I think this has really caused a big problem, and then people have really limited.
Tell us the cause. I mean, what is the cause of the aflatoxin itself? I mean, is it from the farm, or is it the fertilizer that farmers use on their crops, or is it the quality of the sand?
Yeah, it's a good question. The cause of aflatoxin can be from the farm up to along the value chain. In the farm, if the farmer, even if it is, let's say, okay, the farm is almost maybe free from aflatoxin. If the farmer doesn't go through proper agronomic practices, that is most cases when they harvest peanuts, you pile them in heaps when they have high moisture content. Yeah, this will trigger the growth of this Aspergillus flavus fungus, causing a rise. Okay, if you are able to control at that level too, and the product comes to storage after processing, because normally our practice here is when they harvest first, they heap them into smaller heaps before they heap them into larger ones.
Exactly.
I think if you know how they.
Yes.
So normally it's advisable when you harvest, you scatter them all over so that at least the moisture level becomes lower before you maybe heap them or whatsoever. But more advisable is to heap them on raised platforms when the moisture content are low. This will minimize the level. So this happens along the value chain. If the farmer is able to control it at the level of the farm, and it comes to the storage, after processing and it comes to storage, if the storage is not taken good care of too, you might trigger the growth of this Aspergillus again. That is when there is high moisture level, this will trigger the growth of fungus, because this fungus grows when there is high moisture level. So therefore you need to limit the level of moisture at any stage along the value chain. So it might be safe from the farm, but when it comes to storage, contaminated at the storage. or during transportation, when it takes time before it leaves, sometimes like example, GGC, when they get their products over from the rural areas, sometimes where they stock it, it takes a longer time before it is shipped to the final destination. So that might also trigger, especially when the storage facility is not properly met. So these are things that trigger.
I am surprised that you know all this. And you said the communication chain is not there between you and local farmers. Why is that the case? I mean, I think they should know this. I mean, to help prevent this aflatoxin.
Yeah, maybe they didn't actually. They are not properly sensitized. So this is why I emphasize that more sensitization need to be done, so that the farmers are trained as to follow at least strict agronomic practices. Not farmers alone, but those that are involved within the value chain. Transporters, farmers, and whatsoever might involve within the chain should be trained as to what methods they should use to make sure they mitigate the infection of this aflatoxin. That is from the farmers, from the storage, those who that the consumers, the storage or whatsoever. It should be a stakeholder sort of. It shouldn't be only the farmers alone. It should be even those people that are buying peanuts from these farmers. They need to be sensitized on good agronomic practices, good processing practices, good storage practices. All those things should be, at least they should be sensitized to follow strictly, so that they minimize this level of aflatoxin. Yeah.
So how bad is aflatoxin in the Gambia here? How bad is it? Because sometimes you talk to people and they feel it's as bad as preventing them from eating the domoda that we just saw, or any other thing that has to do with consuming groundnuts, because you do not know, you're not there to know if the proper structure was followed and all of that. So it's quite scary, to be honest.
That's right. Yeah, when we talk of, people are scared indeed. And this is what triggered us to come up with the survey, this peanut survey that we did. Because I can remember when I attend some meetings around, let's say, when we have some meetings, especially on this aflatoxin or other food-related seminars around Senegambia, people will always be scared to take this domoda because of, they are worried.
They're worried about their health, liver cancers, hepatitis.
Yeah, hepatitis and the like. But then this is what triggers us. When we had that small fund from the Ministry of Agriculture, we decided to use part of the fund to be dedicated to my program, so that we can go conduct a countrywide survey to collect samples from all over the country. Yeah, so this was done, and then when we collected samples, we decided to run them on analysis, so that we at least know what is happening, because this has not been done for a long time.
Right.
Yeah, and then it is important to inform the general public, so that they know, so that that concept of being fear comes, at least people know exactly their fate of consuming this peanut butter. So when we run the analysis, we realized that the levels, especially on peanut butter, were very low, to be honest.
But it's there.
Yeah, it is there, but very, very low.
So when you say very low, it's harmless to the body. Is that what you're saying? It's
somehow harmless, yeah, because in some cases, some samples comes to even 0.
Okay.
So that is almost...
So when you say somehow, what does that mean?
Yeah, it is actually, I can say, one way or the other, safe to be consumed.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's still there.
In some samples.
That's
not all samples.
That's not safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
In some samples, it is there, but at very lower levels. You know, even in Europe or the US, it might be there and then be consumed, but they have a threshold. I don't know whether you understand.
You're right, yes.
Yeah, like it is still there, but they can still consume it because it might not be very harmful. Like example, when they say total aflatoxin, EU is saying 4 ppb, 4 parts per billion. The total of the 4.
Right.
You know, you have 4 types.
Yes.
Yeah. You have B1, B2, G1, G2.
Right.
Yeah. So the total 4. B1, they are accepting only 2 ppb.
Okay.
So still it is there, but they are still consuming it.
Okay.
Because they know anything at 2 ppb, they will still take it.
Okay.
If you send your groundnut anything at 2 ppb, so it doesn't mean that it has to be 0 completely. Everything has to be 0. But they have a threshold that they
At least,
As
Yeah,
in
at
how
least,
bad
yeah,
it can
how
affect
bad.
the individual.
Yeah, maybe if it is around, okay, EU is controlling, maybe they don't want it around 5 ppb, 6 ppb or up.
Yeah.
When it is at that level, maybe it might affect the general public. So
Right.
this is why they ban anything that goes above those thresholds, they send it back. They send a rapid alert for the whole EU country because they have a database, what they call the RAF, Rapid Alert for Food and Feed. So the moment they realize that, okay, this consignment comes from the Gambia and it is above our threshold, they just put it in the database, and then all these countries within the EU are alerted that this sample X whatsoever from Gambia is having this level. So it doesn't mean that it has to be...
It has to go to zero.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
you have to
what are
understand.
you people doing as experts? As you know, Gambia, we are known for exporting groundnut. You understand? And when you look at other countries like China, you look
Okay.
at big countries that are also competing in the international market, they are providing very good groundnut.
Okay.
So very soon, Gambia, we are going to lose our that export need. I mean,
Exactly.
yes. I mean, Gambia is known to be a country that exports groundnut. But I think we are fooling ourselves. If we are having a whole lot of aflatoxin, we cannot compete at the international world.
That's right.
So what are you people doing to remedy this situation?
Yeah, if you can remember, during the past interview, we have our Director of Research, Dr. Diba, who was emphasizing on that. It is not a responsibility of one institution. It has to be collective institutions. NARI is playing a part. That is, we are trying to source some resistant varieties
So
from...
which institutions are you partnering with?
We are partnering with GGC. We are partnering with food safety in some cases. We are partnering with health when it comes to the Parker program, even with MRC during the Parker program. So we are partnering with some of these institutions. And then the Department of Agriculture, as well as the Agriculture Communications Unit sometimes. Yeah,
Well, I will not mention names, but some of those institutions you mentioned, Gambians don't have confidence in them.
Yeah.
Well, we can't judge that. We can't judge that. But what I'm saying is, I think it's a trend that whenever we have guests on this program and they are given a certain responsibility, when we ask certain questions, they tend to use the excuse of it's collective. You know, that is collective.
Okay.
NARI is the research institution. Are you taking the lead
Yeah,
in
we are,
instances?
Yeah, we
you
are taking the lead in terms of sourcing these resistant varieties.
Okay.
If you can remember, from ICRISAT, ICRISAT as well as IIT, I think, yeah.
Okay.
You know, we are partnering with this, some of these top research bodies. That is part of the CGIAR. It's an international research body. So normally we are sourcing these varieties and they are undergoing trials.
The resistant one.
Yeah, the resistance ones.
Okay.
So if it is promising and then they prove to be more efficient than the ones we have, we will try to replace them with those ones. And this can be another breakthrough. Okay. Another one research we are going on that is in collaboration with GGC is the AFLASAFE program. I think you heard of the AFLASAFE. I don't know whether you once heard of it.
No, that's news to me.
That's
It
news,
is
eh?
news to me
Yeah, actually it is. Anyway, maybe I'll go a little into that. That's another biological control.
Right.
It's a biological control method. Although I'm not the one to be talking on that because we have another researcher who is Dr. Benga who should have elaborated more on that.
Okay.
But I am also part of the team because normally I run their samples for analysis when they get the samples from the field. This AFLASAFE actually is developed from the US for biological control. One of the labs at the University of Oregon. Fortunately, I was able to meet the professor that developed that technology, Peter Corte, Dr. Corte from the USA. They use these sorghum seeds, you know sorghum, not so, Quinto, they call it in Mandinka. It's coated with a fungus, sort of. But this fungus is etoxigenic.
Okay.
It's not toxin.
Okay.
They doesn't produce toxin.
All right.
Okay. So they use it, get this, and then it is spread into the farmer's field. So when they spread it, if there is aflatoxin causing fungus, either aspergillus flavus or parasiticus, this etoxigenic fungus suppresses the growth of this other fungus, thereby reducing the level of aflatoxins. Yeah, so when this is done, the levels are reduced. So they tried this, I think, for the past 2 years, and then they have very promising results after the analysis. Yeah, they realized that almost close to 90-something% effective. So this is what they are also promoting I doubt they would have at least used maybe. This is why I say always advocacy is limited.
Yes,
in
so
terms of this,
I appreciate
yeah.
your honesty,
Yeah,
considering the
yeah.
fact that you agree that
Yeah.
the work that needs to be done is not being done. We are not even halfway there yet. But I want to know, do you have a communications team that is supposed to work on this? Because you know, the public is of that notion that public institutions, when it comes to information flow, it is a problem, and it's with the same issue with NARI as well. So how can that change? What are you doing now that you know that this problem exists?
Yeah, we have a problem because we don't have a communication unit in NARI.
At NARI?
At NARI, to be
Wow.
honest. So normally when we have certain things like sensitization or whatsoever, we normally source from DOA, their communications unit.
Right.
But this actually, I'm sorry to say, it's not making that much impact as
Wow.
what I've seen. Just look at last week when we had that interview with BT.
Yeah.
Just within that few days, it has just gone all over.
Right.
Even overseas, people were contacting me.
Yeah.
My brother living in the US contacting
And just
me.
to tell you, when
Yeah,
you live here, you get a lot of contacts
exactly.
as
So this
well.
is why I told BT that
Yeah.
it will be useful now for agricultural projects as well as agricultural institutions to be using you people, at least normally when they have these programs in the rural areas or whatsoever, to be using you people to serve as a way of, you know, sensitizing people so that people are aware, because a lot of people watches QTV.
Okay.
Yeah. So this will be a very good medium.
Well,
Yeah.
no matter
Yeah,
what you
so,
do,
yeah.
even if you do a whole lot of research, if you don't have a good communication, I mean, people will not, it will not be communicated.
This
Yeah.
is it.
You
I
know?
think NARI is such a big organization,
Yeah.
really, that deserves the publicity
Exactly.
Yeah.
and deserves a dynamic and, you know, vibrant communication
Communication
team
unit.
that should give all this information to farmers, because you are dealing with local people, you know. I know most of the local people, even watching this program, might not get majority of what we're talking about.
Exactly.
That's
you
right,
know.
yeah,
So
that's
it's
right.
about going to them
Yeah.
and tell them this is
Indeed.
this is what you're supposed to do.
Indeed,
So I
yeah.
think that is what we will go home with when it comes to this discussion today, and we will follow to see what,
Exactly.
you know, what improvements will come, because this has to do with the issue of liver cancers, hepatitis. You know,
Absolutely.
we have family members, you know, on a daily basis who get to die from some of these things,
Yeah.
which is directly linked to aflatoxins.
Yeah.
So I think the change really should start. But I really appreciate, we really appreciate your honesty,
Indeed.
that the fact that you're able to be honest about this and open about it.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. Any questions?
Well, it's all right. I mean, there's nothing that's gonna disconnect me from eating my domoda. So, even if it's aflatoxin, but make sure you find the remedy, please.
Yes,
Indeed,
and
yeah.
make sure, and it also starts from us, where when we go to our communities back in SL or in Basse, you know, we can talk to API, oh, do you know this exists? Do you know you da nga war a weer sa gerte bi?
Exactly, wow.
Understand nga, sa gerte bi da nga ko war a weer,
Good,
waruloo
wow,
ko
at least.
paak pour
Good.
fungus bi mu grow fa.
Good.
So at some point, some of these things as well, we
It's
have to
very
communicate.
important, yes.
Personally, dama wàññi domoda. I domoda anything gerte because I'm a ragal. I'm afraid, you know. So sometimes I'm a ragal when it comes to
No,
domoda.
but when it is domoda, you can buy your own gerte tamit, because we
Nga
always
defaral ko sa
sensitize people.
bopp.
Yeah, you hand pick. It's simple. You just try to hand pick those that are moldy, sort of. Not all moldy peanuts are fungus affected. There might be another fungus, but it's not safe. You just pick the ones that are, you know. When
So
you watch,
naka nga de muna identify bu am.
wow, xam nga soo ko watchee, in
Wow.
most cases, what we advise is go get your own granite.
Okay.
In most cases, if you are not comfortable or whatsoever, after getting it, you try to hand pick the good ones.
Okay.
Because some of the bad ones, when you watch, you might see some molds. I think
Wow,
you know
dang ngay
molds.
gis
Yeah,
muy ñuul.
dang ngay gis lu ñuul loolu
Wow.
noonu. Yeah, those ones actually are not safe. Although it might not be the aflatoxin causing fungus,
But
it might be another
something
harmless
else.
fungus.
Another one, yes.
Another harmless fungus. No,
Yeah.
not all of them are harmful anyway.
Okay.
But then it's not safe. So pick the good ones, go and roast your granite, maybe get your small machine if you are not sure of the person that is preparing paste for you. Because some people, maybe if you strictly tell them, okay, you have to use this, maybe advise them, they might use that stick whatsoever. But if you are not too sure, get your small machine. If you know you like domoda too much,
I'm
you
not a
know, roast
domoda
your
fan.
granite and then
I
you
am.
just, you know,
I am.
prepare your paste.
Yes.
It is safe for you to
Safely
consume.
than
Yeah.
having to buy
Yeah, exactly.
from other
See,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, but
So,
and again, and the thing is, we do not also have to take that burden as individuals.
Exactly.
They may come now for So what I'm trying to put across is we should not take that burden because currently technology is evolving.
Indeed.
You don't have to go get your own ground and then wala liko sa bopa. At the time and day it's about the food safety and quality authority putting in proper measures where ñi nga xamne ñu ngay jaay ground or diko packet diko brand you follow strict measures. ñu defal ko num waré. Lolu mo wara am. Why nekkul ne to the extent of nit nga dem jëlali ground sa bopa si day and time buñ tolu ni nit ñi amuñ time pour dem def lolu nonu. Lolu waruñ ko forcer suñ ko. It's about putting in the right measures and having people follow standards. That's how we move as a country.
I'm sure food safety is will be working on that because we are more or less collaborating fully with them.
Okay.
Yeah, because anytime when they have samples or some not even only peanuts, even rice or whatsoever, when it comes export and then they want to check the moisture or certain issues for grain quality, they have to bring it to our lab for analysis. So hopefully,
I know he's coming after me. He wants to say, Jenna, but you're you don't want to go and do this yourself.
You know what happened? When he mentioned all that stress, I wanted to say we don't have time for that. We don't have that time. We just want to go buy our 5-liter paste butter, come and cook.
And if that happens,
you are right on that one.
Let's put up the proper. There are young people coming up with businesses, so let's make sure we put standards. We explain. Let's use the issue of billboards. That's why I'm coming back to communications. Let's use social media to engage people. Because Mary Lagos, I know la gena buga WhatsApp, gen la buga Facebook, gen la buga TikTok. And it's these are free platforms where we can use them and put up animations and all of that. You know, give us a contact. Give us a contact here. And maybe we can do some communications job for them.
Exactly, yes, definitely. No, they should, no, Nari should come. Guy appoint you Jenaba. You communicate our No,
well, I think that person, I think I'll relay this to our
you have to,
we need it here. We need a communication.
No, you have to relate that. No,
that's right, yeah.
Wow.
Mr. Jaju, thank you so much for coming. It has been a really great conversation with you. And hopefully the public enjoyed it and they got to learn something from it moving forward. Thank you so much for joining us. So from here, now we head right on to social issues. We'll be joined by Dr. Awaja. She's the first home-trained gynecologist to be able to make it to the West African College of Surgeons. About to have some exciting conversations here. I think she's a clear definition of techife that we always talk about as a country.
Definitely.
It is. So we will take a look at that when we come back. Do stay tuned.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
to build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
Light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With a touch of your fingers,
with ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
back from that break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. And from that discussion on aflatoxins, now we take a look at the issue of tekifi. I think this conversation is more of giving me that, because most of the time it's about there's some part of your education where you have to go outside of the Gambia to be trained, to make it there, to be able to come back to your country. But, you know, knowing something exists such as this, homegrown, you know, home trained, and is attracting some form of international attention, as Dr. Jam makes it to as a member of the West African College of Surgeons, is a big thing. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Awaja, and congratulations.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yes. So let's hear it from the horse's mouth. When we say home trained, homegrown in this setting, what are we talking about?
Okay, what we're talking about is the medical program goes into steps.
Right.
Just getting into medical school is just the beginning of it. Then after you specialize, you do what we call house job. That is 2 years training.
Yeah.
And that will make you a general practitioner. From then you decide which branch you go to. It's just how you do it, whether you want to be a sport journalist and all those things. So when you decide, from that point, then you have to leave the country to be able to train to achieve what you want.
Right.
But currently, with the postgraduate training, which has been put in place with by the Ministry of Health, by Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, the postgraduate office, it has helped reduce that burden on people, their families, and the funds. Now you can be trained here until you get to a specialist or even become a consultant. So it makes it better.
It makes it better. So how does it feel being trained here, knowing that you could have gone outside, you know? There's that factor all of the time telling you, danga wara dem, Gambia is not good enough, swing system is not good enough, purunga defe kofi. Most of the time that is there. So how were you able to deal with that, to have confidence in your own system, in your own country, to stay here and do what you have to do here?
Yeah, yes, Jennifer, you're right. When the postgraduate program started, there were so many challenges. There were so many people, even senior people, that believed it was not going to work, that Gambia was not ready for it. But then the ministry, the hospital, and us as the trainees, we believed we could do this. The advantages, it's less on the government, because when you pay for people to go to Ghana or Nigeria to study, it costs you a lot. And to us as trainees, it gives us time to stay with our families. I don't have to leave my daughter behind to go and study. I could do it here, spend time with my family in the same environment, no change of environment. So it was really easier to do it here. But we had a lot of challenges because it was, when we came, we were the first batch. It was a new thing. There were so many challenges, but we were able to overcome them. All we needed to do is communicate with other people that were doing it outside the country and see how they do it, and then we forged ahead.
Okay. So what are some of the lessons learned from the program as an individual, knowing that there are challenges that you overcome? And first of all, before we go into the lessons learned, how did you overcome them? I know you said you communicated with people outside of the country, but it also takes some personal qualities or some personal efforts beyond that to be able to achieve this as well.
Yes, I think it was not very difficult. It was just that it was a new thing. It was not very established. But we had trainers that were trained in those countries that knew what they were doing. It was just difficult because maybe at that point some of the books were not available. You have to buy them from outside, order from Timbuktu and buy them and all. But at least people were there that knew how to get over it. The problem, the challenges with us was people were doubting it. So we were like, at some point, okay, would this work? Will it not work? But we just focused because we knew we had people that knew what they were doing and that were moving us to the right direction.
Okay. So this means that the quality is there. That is why you're able to make it as a member to the West African College of Surgeons. Am I right?
Yes, the quality is there. It's just the numbers. The quality is there because before we went for the exams, there's this requirement that you do is the revision course, because you need a certificate of that to be able to register for the exams.
Right.
But when we went, 6 of us went. But when we went, we interact. Everybody was like, where are you training from? Because we realized we were the smallest number, but the exposure we had, the experience we had was so much more than what people were having. Because in those centers, you see hundreds, 300, 400 of people doing the same program.
Right.
Here you see only 6 people doing the same program, and they have those exposure to patients, exposure to the surgeries. So when we spoke to them, we realized, wow, really? We are really doing well.
Yeah.
So we were really proud of ourselves. And from then, initially, I was not even planning to do the exams now because we were scared. This is something we're not exposed to. This is the first time I'm going to do this. But we did. And we were lucky.
Yeah, no, you weren't lucky. You deserved it.
Yes,
you
yes.
know,
I mean, taking
you
that
walked
risk
on
of
it.
doing this.
Yeah,
I mean, it's important that we have our own people trying to take such kind of a task. I mean, opening the way, because I mean, there must be a person who is supposed to start something.
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's important.
So yeah,
we are proud of you anyway.
Thank you.
So is this an area you were always passionate about, or is it because this was the program that was available at the time, that is why you ventured into it, or the passion was there prior?
Yes, this is an area I am very passionate about. Okay. It's maternal health. We've seen how much maternal mortality is in this country, and us all, we have a role to play. You, me, the society included, we all have to play our roles to be able to help reduce that maternal mortality.
Right.
So it has always been my passion, even before I realized I was doing the residency. Because after you finish your house job, you can decide which department you want to go to, and then you can move and then be stationary there. So I was in the Obs and Gynae department. So why we said most people, because of these hindrance, the trouble and all, most people will just stop there. Not because they want to, but there's not much to do. And the exams are so difficult that most people will not even want to go into it. So when we came, I can remember one of my colleagues, he was like, what are we doing? We're 6 months medical officers. Me, I don't want to be stuck here. So we're like, by then we were the youngest in that department. So we're like, we're going to do it. And that's how we did it. Then the primary exams was not available in the Gambia. So we did ours in Ghana. But after that, when people saw that, at least, okay, people are doing this, even when they're in this country. So they started doing it. So that's when they brought the college here. So now the primary exams can be done in the Gambia. That's the first part, you can do it here.
Amazing.
So yes, so after we did that, it was like, it took a year before the residency program starts. Because with the West African College, they have to accredit your institution. It has to be accredited. They have to come and check what is available. Whether this institution is a good institution to give quality education. Because you're training specialists. You're training somebody that would operate somebody, or somebody that will make a decision on a person's life. So it should be something that is quality. So we got the accreditation in 2017, and then we started the residency in 2018.
All right. So how are you able to balance, you know, having a child, being married, having to study for this exam, having to do your normal work? You know, how do you do that?
Yeah, it was difficult, really difficult, because I didn't even start with my colleagues. When my colleagues started, I just delivered. So I didn't start with them. I was about 4 months late. But when I come in, this is something I want, and this is something I think my country needs. So it was difficult initially because I had to do 36 hours duties, leaving my daughter behind who was less than 6 months old. And then juggling all that with family, you know, the Gambian culture. Where everybody expects so much, the in-laws, the family, and everybody. So it was really difficult. But one thing it taught me, when you want to do something, you just focus on it. And the thing about this is, it's not an individual thing. You can't do it alone. You need so many people to be able to do it. We needed the Ministry of Health to be able to set up this. We need the hospital to use it as our training ground. We need our teachers to teach us. But most importantly, I needed my colleagues. Because this is something that you can't do alone. Maybe you think you know this, but at least with them, I'll say, okay, this is it. They'll say, no, this is not it. The other ones say, no, they will open books. That's how we learned. And even the reading we did together. Because this is something, when you do alone, it's very difficult.
Yeah, you
because
have
it takes a lot out of you. But then another thing is, I was one of the lucky ones. I had my mom, who my daughter prefers to me even.
Alhamdulillah.
She has done so well for her because I kept going in and out. Before I get to home, it might be 7, 8 p.m. Maybe sometime when I come, she's sleeping. I leave 6 a.m. So she was there. And then my husband was so understanding because he knew this is what I wanted. And he's been really supportive on it. So
yeah. I think that's important. But on another note, I think we have to book an appointment here with you for another program because, you know, we've seen a lot of things happening in the Gambia when it comes to things that people are doing, when it comes to their reproductive health, especially products. We've seen a lot of products in Gambia currently, and I think people need to be educated. And I think we will try to book an appointment to see if today you're here to be celebrated, but on another note, we would really love to have you here to help us discuss some of these things in the country because it's quite worrying.
Exactly.
Yes, I would love to.
Yeah.
Looking
forward to that.
Thank you.
So any final words to other people who might want to be in your position to be able to make it as a member to the West African College of Surgeons? Big.
Yeah. So the final word is, as an individual, you should believe in yourself, and then you should also apply yourself. Don't believe what people say. Nothing is impossible when you're ready to.
Fi Gambia.
Nothing is impossible when you're ready to do it. And another thing is, I just like to encourage the young girls. We are not just going to be mothers. We have to be leaders of tomorrow, and we can be whatever we want to be, or if we want to. And I also take this opportunity to thank the Ministry of Health, for without them, I really wouldn't be here. To thank the Edward Francis Moore Teaching Hospital and the Postgraduate Office, to thank my teachers, my colleagues, and to thank my husband, my mom, who is my pillar, and my daughter, who I have taken so much time from. So I thank them all. And to thank you guys for giving me this opportunity.
And we thank you for coming. Thank you so much. And looking forward to you achieving greater things gradually.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much. So we'll go for a short break. And when we come back, we'll head right on to the Click segment. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using QuickPay on the QMoney platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with QMoney by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. QMoney, Sunyu Kalpe.
At the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am Q-Power. I am Qcell. I am Sunyabos. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. So we were supposed to have Ojulog here with Buba Fati, but I mean today the music industry has lost a Sarah Joy, and obviously we expect that they have to go there to pay their last respects. So Ojilog, I'm sure we'll be able to have him another day in the week. But nevertheless, Buba Fati has put up a video, a tribute video there for Sarah Joy, Sarah Tanjai. So let's take a look at that video, and when we come back, we'll get to wrap it up.
Crime rates ibarina, lunyu dundo metana, sunyu dundo selna, mane wakji barina, defo nyulen, waho nyulen, khala yangi nili khol, bada lodi jakhana, sunyu rew nyut funyu jam, yermande sak amatul, defo nyulen, waho nyulen.
Welcome back from that break. May her soul rest in perfect peace. Ibrahim?
Yes, that's Sarah Joy for you. Very sad indeed. I mean, we are praying for her and all departed souls. May their souls rest in perfect peace. And of course, this is life, Jenaba.
Yeah, we totally hope that she's in a better place. Yeah, this is it for presenters. This is what we do. This is our job.
Yeah.
Even if we're sad, we have to sit here and talk to you and make sure that you are entertained, you are educated, you have fun. This is what we do, and we're happy that we're able to do it on a daily basis. So till we come your way tomorrow with another interesting program. Bye for now.
dama bu ne yelloo na ndox mu set te ndox mu set dafa bokk ci dunni doomu aadama te biir kat amul seetu waral na lépp lu fay dugg dafa war a doon li nga xamante ne ni lu indil doomu aadama bi loraange ci wàllu wér-gu-yaram One Stop Water Solution Limited ñu ngi fii ci biir réew taxaw temm fexe pour gis ne doomu aadama bu ne di nga naan ndox moo xamante ne ni ndex mu sell te wóor la ndax indil nañ leen ay xeetu filtres yi nga xamante ne ni mun ngeen koy jëfandikoo ci seeni pompe yi ci biir réew moo xam booxool ngay jëfandikoo wala pompe nawek yi ne bépp xeetu filtre bi nga xamante ne ni dina la indil wér gu yaram musal la ci loraange amal nañ leen ko ci biir réew am nañ 10-inch filter set of 3 bii nag ñett lay àndal bu ci ne ak li muy liggéey bokk na ci 5 micron pp sediment filter bii nag mooy segg ndox mi ba mu set génne fa lépp li nga xamante ne ni warta ànd ak ndox moomu bala nga koy jëfandikoo gat granule carbon filter bii nag mooy segg génne lépp lu xeetoog chemical ak organique yi nga xamante ne ñoom ñoo nekk ci biir ndox mi sellal ndox mi ba waral mu soppi li nga xamante ne moom la ndox mi di saf mu soppi cafin gi def ko ndox mu sellate óor CTO block carbon filter bii nag du yem rek ci segg ndox mi sellal ko ba mu sell waaye nag daf koy yokk ay ngéneel yi nga xamante ne ni day baax ci wér gu yaramu doomu aadama bi dëgëral waaye tamit yàggal lool sa yuur wi am nañ tamit 12-inch filter set of 3 boobu it liggéey bu nu mel lay def ñetti filter yépp benn bu ne ak lu muy liggéey am nañ 10-inch post carbon 10-inch coconut carbon 75 GPD Pure One membrane bi amal nañ leen bépp xeetu water tank tàmbalee ko ci 500 litres 5000 ba ci 1000 litres ak plumbing fittings kon nag mbokk yi bu ngeen buggee naan ndex yu sell te wóor seeti leen One Stop Water Solution Limited suñu makkaan bu mag baa nga foofa ca Sukuta Highway Mariama Kunda Johnson wala nga call ñu ci 505 5691 796 8272 One Stop Water Solution Limited ndox mu set mooy yàggal dundu ni doomu